Hey, and welcome to map 12 of TNT Evilution. This is Crater, and it's not the best level, it's not the worst level. It's another one of those TNT levels that somehow manages to fall right in the middle of the pack. We'll take care of these imps here as we head around the corner. We'll shoot those barrels just to make sure that, you know, they don't get blown up in our faces. Take care of the imps and the barrels. You can see the blue door there. We don't actually have that key. We could run straight to get it now, but I do want to do a bit of exploration in this level. So, Crater here. We come up the steps and you can see this is the titular crater. It's quite empty, which is probably its biggest weakness. Like, there's a lot of potential in the level design here, but it's kind of squandered in my opinion by the fact that there just isn't that much going on. This is probably one of the better rooms in the level, and unfortunately it's completely optional. There's a bunch of hit scanners down bottom here, and we'll head around, head up here. I like how there's like an escalation here because there's enemies hidden behind this pillar who kind of are waiting for you to come up, and then when you get up here, oh look, it's two Barons of Hell. We're just going to take these guys out because I don't want to, you know, get destroyed by them. That would be pretty bad form for ThatNukemGuy. But it's nice that, you know, there's a bit of challenge here, and we have to take care of these two. We don't have the super shotgun, nor do we have the rocket launcher right now, so we're going to have to make effective use of the space here. So when we grab that soul sphere there, the room is going to fill with yet more enemies, Mancubus and Arachnotrons. So the best thing for me to do here is just hide in this corner. If I try standing out in the open, the Arachnotrons are going to have me for breakfast, and then the Mancubus will finish me off just because they fancy it. The best thing I can do is just take care of all these enemies in the corner here, don't give them a chance to shoot me from up above, and just take them out from a distance. Full disclosure, I did try to take these guys out by running up the stairs at the entrance, and what happened? They killed me because all the enemies were just shooting into one spot and very hard to dodge all of that. Also take note when we're done with this area of the little holes there at the back. They're going to become interesting later on, I'll say. That's the best thing I can say about it. So the thing that gets me about this level, there's plenty of space here. There's so much space that is really underutilized because where are the enemies? Where are all the like corridor battles here? There's plenty of space here for something bigger to be happening, and I don't like to be overly critical, but sometimes with levels like this, I feel like there's a great level here. There's with some really great battles, like hiding all these enemies around the boxes. Nice idea. Unfortunately, there's not much happening in this space here. And again, another little clever area here. Love the look of the blue pillars there, and the lights in this room as they kind of move in sync with each other. It's really nice, quite a different feel to this room. And as we take down the Mancubus here, we get ourselves the blue key, and the room floods full of pinkies, which is pretty cool actually, because we have that berserk pack we grabbed earlier on, and it really shows its use here because we don't have to chew through all our ammo. When dealing with these guys, we can just draw them out of the door and deal with them. This is actually one of those levels that's in the demo loop at the start of TNT, so if you watch that, you'll have a good idea of what to expect from this room. Plenty of ammo, plenty of armor. We love to see it. We are well rewarded for entering that room. And we have the blue key now, so we can actually head out to the crater. And again, I actually like the look of this area. The use of different levels, the use of mixed lighting, so that some areas are dark, some areas are light. You've got a fair few imps like up top here who can shoot down on you, as well as the chain gunner and a few shotgunners down below. So there's definitely quite a bit of fun to be had here. This is a very interesting area. You'll want to make sure you kill all these guys because they will kind of take pot shots at you as you're kind of heading out and coming back later on. Let's take... oh no, it's a chain gunner, okay. I thought there was a shotgunner down here. Maybe that's because I was playing the PS1 version of this level. And there's also some bony boys out here. I guess my problem with this area, because we are technically in the crater now, is that it feels like this is a wide open space where a lot of things could happen, but next to nothing does actually happen. And it's a shame because it's quite an interesting area, this. It's a nice big space and there's plenty of potential here for something better. Honestly, this would have been a great place to put a spider mastermind and maybe a few arachnotrons if they really wanted to kind of play with the player here, but there's another bony boy around the corner there. And now we're going to head up the stairs here. These steps are quite hidden. You have to actually go exploring to see them, which I don't know if I'm a total fan of. So here's the second Baron. Take him out and grab the red key, which will allow us to enter the final part of the level here. So as we make our way around here, you can see that we've explored the whole area outside here. It is a bit underwhelming. We kind of have to accept that. But as we head upstairs here and head around to the red door, we are going to be heading deeper into the crater here because, as you can see, long elevator ride. So this area is pretty interesting because there's a whole bunch of enemies who will be wandering around here trying to take shots at us, trying to hurt us. So it's kind of important that we don't leave ourselves too exposed because it is possible to get overwhelmed here. There's a bony boy around the corner there. Luckily there's only one of them. If there was a few more this might be a dangerous encounter, but luckily you can kind of duck around and be careful. So as we keep making our way around here, it's just important to get rid of all these enemies so they don't follow us into the last room. There's a fair mix of enemies here. A few imps, a few shotgunners, the odd chain gunner thrown in just for good measure. And you'd think that would be enough, but come here and there's actually an archvile, which is a pretty nice trap, not gonna lie. This one actually can catch you out, largely because you're not expecting it at this point. And it's very well placed as well. This room's a bit odd though, because it's got these metal pillars here. I can't really work out what the function of this room is meant to be. Maybe a drilling room of some kind? But you can see that there's arachnotrons at the end of the level. You can actually run to the exit and just kind of avoid them completely if you don't want to deal with. Personally, I just want to get rid of them because we're going to go exploring a whole section of the level in a second, and I don't want to be dealing with these guys at the end of that. So instead of heading to the exit of a level, we'll head up here. So there's two secrets here, and this secret is massive. And when I say massive, I mean this is basically half the footprint of the level that we're about to enter here. This massive room here, which I can't work out what that toxic's meant to be. Is there like toxic going into the crater? Is this like a mining facility now? I don't know. It looks very nice. It's actually probably one of the better looking rooms in the level, interestingly. But this lift is also worth talking about because it kind of comes down in different sections. And as you'll see when we go up, it doesn't actually go up in like equal portions. It's kind of weird, this. You can see it doesn't even level out properly because of the way sectors work in Doom. So when we drop down here, we're actually heading into a super sewer area. Now, I don't know why a crater level would need a sewer, but, you know, who am I to question the design of Doom gamers from the mid-90s? I always take this room to be like a massive grate above us, and people are just kind of walking, looking down, going, oh look at all that poop down there. I know we're not talking about TNT. No, TNT's not poop. That was a mean joke. What's also mean is this arachnotron behind this fake wall. So he's here to kind of catch you out when you sort of turn right here. If you sort of turn right and don't realise he's there, he's going to blast you as you're walking down this room, and you're going to lose a lot of health because of it. So I totally recommend just checking your corners when you're down here. But you can see there, those gaps are all over the level that we talked about earlier. They allow you to kind of look back into previous areas of the level. It's actually really cool, and it's definitely an interesting design choice that like this kind of wraps around most of the level's key rooms. But I kind of dig it because it adds some complexity and some variation to what would be otherwise kind of an empty level. I don't think it makes it a great level, don't get me wrong, but I am saying that it's definitely an interesting design choice, to say the least. And I can say that about a fair bit of this level. There's some really nicely thought out arenas for you to get lost in here. Like, even the crater itself is kind of interesting, just very underutilized. Like, throw in a dozen more enemies and make it kind of like a proper monster party. But I feel like Crater's one of those levels that falls in the middle. It really could have been something better if they'd thrown in a few more encounters, I think, that really would have spiced things up, because otherwise you just end up kind of going through it thinking, it's okay. But it's fine. It's definitely not one of TNT's weaker levels. I think that it's just there, and I think the design and potential is there, but like underutilized. Now on the PlayStation 1 version, you're going to notice that not only is the frame rate a bit dodgy, you know, get used to that, by the way, but we're actually doing a PlayStation version of this level. Yeah, I am surprised that of all the levels we've kind of passed through so far, this is one of the few that's actually been given the green light for a conversion here. And overall, the level kind of makes the jump pretty seamlessly. They haven't really trimmed the level down, for better or worse, and yes, that performance is the game. But you can see that like this room's very much the same here with the boxes. One thing that they did get rid of, though, there are no chain gunners in this level, so you can't get your hands on a chain gun, which is disappointing. There was a chain gunner there in the PC version, but the imps have made it across here, which is pretty cool. But yeah, for better or worse, this level is an almost identical conversion with a few interesting notes of difference. The imps are all still here, but the chain gunners are gone, and the mancubus are gone, and there's a lot more arachnotrons in this level. They've also changed the layout of some of the levels, and as we kind of make our way through here, I'll point out where those changes are happening. Because, oh, hello arachnotron, so that's not a mancubus in this version. So again, going to make use of the door here to herd the pinkies through. I don't see much point in sort of staying in there to fight them, because the pinkies will just surround me and take health off. So as you can see there's a few nightmare pinkies wandering around, which, you know, we don't really want to play with them too much. They also changed the textures of those lights, which disappointing for me. Like, I actually kind of liked the blue lights being used in here, because it kind of made this room stand out and look a lot brighter. But we'll grab all this ammo, because who's going to say no to all that? I don't really need the chainsaw, but, you know, may as well grab it while it's here. So we're going to head inside this room here. Now, this room is still large. It's still got the same kind of idea to it, but they've just changed a fair few of the enemies around. So there's no chain gunners here, and you'll see in a second there's no mancubus in here either, or barons of hell. So you can see instead of the barons, they've actually got two arachnotrons in the centre there, and I don't know if that makes it more difficult or less difficult, but it certainly is a difference. Certainly though, I think the barons made it a bit more challenging, so I wouldn't say, oh okay. So instead of having mancubus down here that would sort of teleporting in the PC version, we get some shotgunners, which I don't think that's much of a trade-off, let's be honest. See, I would have just added more arachnotrons in, because like that would have made this room absolutely crazy. But you can kind of see that this room, while the same, lacks the same kind of challenge, purely because, like, you know, limitations on the number of enemies they can have in there. Let's head through the blue door here. So you'll notice that the frame rate will start chugging around this point, because these massive areas here do not do the PlayStation 1 any favours. I do like that skybox though, like I have to say, very underrated skybox in a Doom game. There was a chain gun here in the PC version, not here now. We're going to grab the rockets here. You can also see there are actually arachnotrons here, so I guess maybe they took my suggestion from the previous one and applied it, or maybe, you know, I'm talking about this game 25 years after it was released, so you know, probably not. I do kind of dig the PlayStation 1 vibe here, making everything a bit more shadowy and darker. It does kind of make this area feel a lot more menacing. Unfortunately, when all the enemies kind of congregate in that corner, it also kind of robs it of the potential for like epic encounters. So you can see where the Bony Boys were in the PC version, they are not here now. We'll take out the Nightmare's pinkies there. So I think they've slightly changed these stairs. Just ever so slightly, I feel like, because there weren't this many pinkies on the staircase here. There's no Baron of Hell up here this time, just shotgunners, which, you know, lame. Red key's still here though, so we can move to the final part of the level here. As said, I'm not against this level. I think it's got some really nice ideas. Like this area, for example, is very interesting. You'll notice, however, that this is where the changes start happening quite aggressively. So no longer are we going down into the crater, we just kind of go down a shallow elevator there. Same rooms here and everything, but that part is actually quite interesting because it means that we're not quite as deep under the level as we were before. We're seeing a lot more shotgunners in this version of the level. The aesthetic in here though is remarkably similar though, just because they've used the same textures on the walls and floors and such. Are we actually going to die here? Is that what's happening? So I wonder what enemy's going to be here then. Oh, so they've actually changed this final room quite aggressively. They've got rid of all the weird metal poles that kind of, you know, were a big part of the PC version, and they've just kind of moved the back end of the room further down. They didn't, however, get rid of this giant ass room, which is kind of surprising when you consider that a lot of changes on the PlayStation version of Doom are kind of made to accommodate smaller rooms rather than, you know, the giant rooms that you find in the PC version. So to see this room here in its full glory is kind of a choice, definitely. But you'll notice that they've again changed the heights here. So this definitely wasn't like this in the PC version. They've actually got rid of the weird elevator that I pointed out, and it actually raised up and then dropped down on this side. You end up with the same level basically, but the sensation of going down and deep and, you know, further underground in the crater is kind of gone because everything kind of feels like it's on a similar level. So I guess they could call this almost crater. It is interesting though that this area is by and large untouched by the hands of the editor, who I don't know, I guess maybe they just decided that this part was too essential to leave out, even though I'd argue if you were going to cut part of this level, this bit probably would have been the part I would have chosen first. So yeah, the Arachnotron's still behind the fake wall. And the reason I say that is because this part is still entirely optional. You don't have to come out this way at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure 99% of people who play this level will never come in this direction. But there's a lot happening in here, so I am surprised that like this is still at the scale it is. It's all definitely a choice, but like I said at the start of the level, I'm surprised that this level even got onto the PS1 version. It's one of the bigger levels in terms of scale, and you would have thought there were other levels, in particular ones we've already played, that, you know, I would have probably chosen ahead of this one. I'd love to know the criteria for what levels and how they chose them made it into this final Doom cut, because I do genuinely think some of the TNT levels in particular are quite weak. And that's not me saying this is a weak level, but I'm saying like this part here, for example, there's no stairs. They've taken the stairs away. So like it's all on the same level, and I don't know, it kind of loses something when you kind of lose the sensation that you're kind of going up and down in like a big impact crater, which is kind of what this level's name implies, and that's kind of what its whole thing is. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I wouldn't have picked this level for the PS1 version as it is anyway. We'll take out the Arachnotron here and then we'll be done. As said, very middle of the road level for me. I think that Crater isn't a bad level. I don't think it's a great level. I think it's just kind of here. It's got one of the biggest secrets in TNT, you know, because half the level's hidden in a secret basically, which is an interesting idea for sure. But overall, I just kind of remember this one exists because it's in the demo loop for the start of TNT, and that's it really. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one.